What is up, NFL fans? It's your boy Kevin Phillip Fox, and I'm here with a special guest. He needs no introduction. NFL Stats on Twitter, Jimmy Ray. Jimmy, how the hell are you, brother?
I'm doing great, man. It's the Colts bye week. I'm chilling. I'm
Nice.
thinking about the next week. I'm already in that mindset, so I'm ready to eat right now. Let's get it.
Oh, dude, I love a good bye week, man. It's kind of like I'm envious as a Bills fan. We haven't had ours yet,
Yeah, how are
and
you
it's just
doing, man?
been. Oh, you know how I'm doing, man. I'm doing
Yeah, I
god
know how you're
awful.
doing.
This is
Yeah,
this is it
we can
was
talk about it
actually the
later.
yeah, I was yeah, we actually will probably talk about it later, but it was one of the hardest losses I've experienced
Mm,
especially in the last 6 or 7 years, but maybe in my life just how horrible it was. But we have huge news to get to right off the bat. I think there's really one headline that is going to dominate news cycles for the weekend, and that's the loss of Joe Burrow for the season for the Cincinnati Bengals. Just a nightmare situation for Bengals fans. For NFL fans, really, I mean, the NFL's better when more teams are good and competitive, and Burrow going down to an injury at this stage is just devastating.
yeah, with the AFC North, Deshaun Watson's out now. Joe Burrow's out now. It's a very tough scene that all happened within like a few days. I honestly didn't think Joe Burrow was gonna be out for the season. So when I saw that news, that genuinely surprised me. Just because I didn't know the full details of his injury, and like I don't think anybody really did since it wasn't reported. But
Right,
uh,
which is
the,
insane, dude. I definitely think the
yeah,
Bengals are going to get a little slap on the wrist,
mhm.
maybe a draft
Get it?
pick
That was a good one.
forfeited.
Slip on the wrist. Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
did not mean for that to. Ooh, bad. No, not what I meant.
That was the best unintentional, best
I'm
worst unintentional.
I'm standing with my Bengals fan brothers right now. They also don't have a Super Bowl ring. They also
Yeah,
have an exciting young quarterback. So there's a lot of parallels between Bills and Bengals fans. Even though
absolutely.
they're my most hated team.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's the
it's
parallel is hard to be
it's
like,
hard
oh,
to
I feel, yeah, there's sympathy
they
there.
you have to give sympathy, and you want them to
Mhm.
you want them to suffer and struggle because they suffer and struggle on the field, not via health or anything along those lines. So
Absolutely.
very devastating.
And you guys
Not
had that
on
DeMar Hamlin thing too, where you guys kind
right.
of showed support for each other. So there's kind of that like brotherly love that you
There's a
guys
lot of
like
bonding
brotherly
between the
respect and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bills and Bengals fans definitely are very tied together forever. So that's the big one. Jimmy, I mean, what analysis can you really give? Do the Bengals have any shot for the rest of the
Mm,
season with Jacob
well,
Browning?
no, not really. I mean, Jake Browning, we'll see kind of what he's made of, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's one of those backup quarterbacks that's like, yeah, let's take this defense and ride it out.
No.
Well, I think Joe Flacco. I don't know if Joe Flacco actually worked out for them. I think he might have, but it wouldn't be a bad idea just to get somebody in there. They have a good chance at the playoffs. I don't think they're at the point where they just lose the rest of their games. I think their defense will win some games. So bringing in a veteran presence, you never know, man. You never know what
Yeah,
could
you,
happen.
you do. You never know, right? We could see a Nick Foles kind of run. Bengals fans are hoping for that.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of watching from the side, just thinking like, is Thursday night football cooked? Does it need to be abolished? Those particular injuries didn't seem like they had a ton to do with the fact that the game was played on Thursday. Like the Mark
Hmm.
Andrews one was kind of the hip drop Logan Wilson tackle, which is, people are debating whether or not it's a clean play. What are your thoughts on the hip drop?
I honestly, at first glance, I think it's just one of those tackles that I mean, it could be due to some injury, but I don't think it's one of those that should be banned.
Yeah,
Which is tough. It just when you look at it, it just looks like a normal tackle. Obviously, there's a lot of tackles that can cause injuries, and that one night that happened couple times, it's obviously tough, but
yeah,
it's too. I feel like I don't know how to say it. It's too normal of a tackle. I feel like
right. It's
for it
hard
to
to
be like,
ban.
no, you
Yeah,
can't do this because what are they supposed to just give up when they're like right behind them? I don't know. It's weird.
yeah.
Also, I got a brain fart. I think Joe Flacco. I think it's the Browns that Joe Flacco uh,
Huh.
worked out for. So I
You
think
know,
Browns
AFC
Bengals.
North,
There's a lot
they're
going on right
orange.
now
They
with
both start with
them.
a B. They're
They
both
both
out
lost their
quarterbacks
starting
are out for the
quarterback. Yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
No Super Bowls. Yeah, you're spot on, brother.
yeah, yeah. Both
Yeah. So
orange.
that's the big one. I mean, the Mark Andrews out for the season news is not nothing. I mean, that's absolutely devastating as well.
That's big.
Terrible for the Ravens. They are looking like the Super Bowl contender from the AFC right now. Does that even the playing field a little bit in your eyes, Jimmy?
With the Ravens in the AFC North.
Or the
or just
AFC in
overall?
general, we'll say, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the Ravens and Chiefs are kind of the top 2 dogs right now.
Yeah,
The Ravens defense has been spectacular. I'm sure we all saw the graphic with Roquan Smith, how he's changed the defense since they got him last year. Mark Andrews is a huge blow to that offense, but
devastating.
they have so many different, like OBJ got 100 yards. I feel like they're learning how to balance out their team, not having Lamar run crazy.
Yeah,
They have a lot of playmakers on offense. Zay Flowers he's awesome, dude.
what a
He's
dog,
so
dude,
much
yeah,
fun to watch. And then Gus
yeah,
Edwards, he'll find the end zone at least once a game. He has more rushing touchdowns than Christian McCaffrey. That's a
yeah.
misleading statistic, but we can go with it right now.
Yeah. So, there's our Thursday night football recap. I mean, I wish the game could factor into our conversation, but the game was secondary to the injuries, unfortunately.
Yeah, it
The
was tough once
Ravens,
once a backup quarterback gets in and like he hasn't had too much experience. It's hard to be like, oh,
yeah,
like
can't
it
really
was a good game, but
can't really
uh,
glean too much from the Bengals' performance, given that Jacob Browning
but
probably did not take a healthy amount of reps in
mhm.
practice. We'll see how things unfold there, but prayers up for Mark Andrews, Joe Burrow, Bengals fans' mental health.
Yeah, big
Um,
props to the Ravens too. I will say.
for sure,
I,
you
I
got to give
won't.
credit where it's due. They
Yeah, I mean
they
they're
did
eight and
handle
three.
business.
They're fighting for that number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah. So next up on the list, we'll talk any shocking results from the last week of NFL games before we get to the previews. Jimmy, anything you want to address in that slate there?
From last week,
Yeah.
I mean we can talk about the Bills if you want to right now.
I don't ever want to, but I haven't done a ton of documenting my thoughts publicly on this. So
Okay,
I feel like just getting it off my chest and like saying what I think. I mean, it's always good to have it out there. It's almost like me and Brian McFadden joke all the time. They're like, these shows are like therapy.
right.
So I'll just air my grievances. You can tell me your thoughts. You can tell me if I'm crazy. Um,
I would never do that.
I love Brandon Bean. I love Sean McDermott. But for the first time on Monday night, I felt like Sean McDermott might not be the right person to lead this team to the promised land. 12 men on the field on a play when the kicker misses the field goal is inexcusable. It's egregious. You live with the Teron Johnson pass interference penalty. I didn't like the call, but it's probably going to get called every time, even though it's ticky tack. And I'm not mad at the Ken Dorsey firing. I didn't think he was the only problem, but I thought he was the biggest problem.
Okay,
So I'm not mad at it. He's not the one dropping passes. He's not the one fumbling the ball. He's not the one telling Josh Allen to throw ridiculously boneheaded interceptions. So
yeah,
that being said, I do believe that there will be a spark when Joe Brady comes in. I do believe that he will sort of right the ship a little bit. And I believe where Dorsey failed the team was in simplicity. It was too simple to the point where defenses were grasping it, but not simple enough that the offense could execute it. So it was
yeah,
like, that's not the sweet spot you want to be in. You want it to be really easy for your guys and really hard for their guys. And it was reversed. So
yeah,
Takeo is saying scapegoat in the chat. I get that it looks that way. I if you were tapped into Bill's Twitter, you would know that it's not. These
mhm,
conversations were happening last year. The Bills' offense was not as productive last year as it should have been with all of its talent. Yes, they went 13-3. They were able to mask a lot of their flaws with just brute force and just getting kind of lucky. The reverse has happened this year.
mhm,
They haven't been able to brute force their way to those wins. The defensive injuries are just stockpiling, and yet the defense isn't the part of the team that's letting anybody down. The defense did their job on Sunday enough to, for all intents and purposes, win that game. If the offense has any sort of a normal game, 4 freaking turnovers, come on.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where like you're not going to get rid of Josh Allen. Not that I'm saying you should ever get rid of Josh Allen at this point, but the offensive schemes and like schematic plans need to change a little bit to kind of avoid those turnovers. Obviously,
Yeah,
the players have to play, but you have to try to avoid those situations for your players as best as you can. Scapegoat, I don't think so, but I mean, that's technically a word you can use, but I think there's a lot of problems, and I think that was just one piece that they just wanted to get some new ideas in and things like that. It's not necessarily like is gonna fix the problem, like boom, just like that next week, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Yeah,
what did you think about
exactly.
James Cook getting benched for a little bit after that fumble? Was that like is that a usual thing for the Bills?
No, not really. And I don't know if you noticed, but Gabe Davis dropped a pass that turned into an interception on the very next
Uh
drive,
huh.
and he didn't get benched. So it was a little frustrating. I think James Cook is young, and he did have a fumble on his first NFL touch, and he hasn't had a fumble since. That fumble in the first quarter was the first fumble since,
The
and then he had three in
first
the
play of the
game.
day, yeah.
Yeah, and then he had three in that
So it's
game.
like he gets off to a weird start and then he's just so
I almost wonder if it's I noticed that the one area where McDermott has been criticized the most is for his handling of young players. There's been a lot of
okay.
slowly bringing players along. We saw Kyrie Elam get benched, healthy and active. He was a first round pick. Um,
Yeah, we
kind
talked a
of
lot about him.
the doghouse mentality. I don't know how good that is at building up confidence for people. But also maybe some people need a little tough love. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a tough love kind of person. So it's difficult, but I didn't love it. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag for me too. I don't think it's like necessarily like the craziest thing in the world, but I just don't I don't unless, and it depends on the player really too. If you know your players, I think if there's like a mental block or something like, hey, you're just gonna get a little break here and you'll come back. I think that's the better way to look at it
Yeah,
rather than just be like, hey, you're being punished. I don't think it's like a should be looked at
yeah,
as a punishment kind of thing. It should be looked at as like, hey, mental break. Let's get back in. But I feel like he's a big part of your offense at this point, and he's
yeah,
had some good games. So I feel like uh,
dude. He
just
looked,
just letting him. I mean, it wasn't for too long, right? I think it was just for a
yeah,
drive
he
or
looked
two.
damn good when he came back. He
Yeah.
looked damn good. He was running ferocious. He's an unbelievably talented player. I do really like him.
Hmm.
And it seems like Armand is picking the Bills to beat the Jets. Armand, that portion of the show is coming. Oh, right now we have our week 11. What? No, I
No,
refuse to believe
let's
that.
restart. Okay,
I refuse
there's
to
an
believe
extra
that.
one. It's week one again.
Week
Let's go.
one, let's go. 17 more weeks. Week 11 game previews on the docket. Jimmy Ray, how excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
7.7.
That is a little offensive. I was
Is
looking
that
for a
low?
little more excitement, but
Well, there's no Colts on, so it's like. But I'm excited just to like focus on all the other games more immensely in that
I
first time
do.
spot. But
We'd be remiss not to give some love to Adrian Revito, our boy. We miss him dearly. He will be back next week, or maybe next week. Next week we might not have a show. It's a holiday thing. We'll have to all figure it out. But we do miss him dearly. Sending good, love and thoughts. Everything is okay with his wife and baby, but he's dealing with some life stuff. So we'll see Age next week or the week after. So I know you guys are gonna miss him terribly, the same way we do. Um, Really quick before we get into it, I'm gonna see if I can find. I think I'm looking at Adrian's what's the term? His soundboard,
graphics,
his scab producer
soundboards.
soundboard. So I'm gonna play a snippet just so we can all hear his voice and have a little moment.
I got
Aw,
bad news for you, mate.
that's sweet.
I got bad news for you, mate. I got bad news for you, mate. I
Luke,
got
yes,
bad news for you,
that's
mate.
the
I
rest of
got
the show.
bad news for you, mate.
That's great, man. That's great. Okay, there you go. There's our Adrian moment of the episode. We miss him dearly. I'm gonna kick things off with Steelers at Browns. Jimmy Ray. Adrian does the spreads, so I'm gonna pull them up and actually, you know what? I'll just go to DraftKings. Look at us. We're so smart, dude. We
Yeah,
don't
we
need
are
producers.
absolutely.
We
Yeah,
don't
we
need
don't.
producers.
Yeah.
All right. So Steelers at Browns is our first matchup, and that one is a 1.5 point Browns favored, even with a backup quarterback at home. Over under is 33 disgusting, vile. I want to throw up all over myself points. I think this is going to be a barn burner, but I don't agree with Vegas here. I think the Steelers are going to pull out the upset. I think that the Browns defense is great, but I don't really have much faith in their offense against a great Steelers defense. It's going to be an AFC North slugfest. I think it's going to be a 12-round fight, and I think the Browns are going to win 16-13.
If you saw my spreadsheet right now, you'd go insane right now because I said I actually planned out my scores and I said the exact
You're
same
kidding,
score.
dude.
16-13 Steelers.
Wow, dude. Look at us. Look at us. That's
So
scary. That's
so yeah, I
scary.
mean the Steelers. I just give a slight edge to the Steelers offense right now. I don't know about Dorian Thompson.
Yeah,
Robinson
DTR.
yet.
Yeah.
DTR, I guess is a better way to say his name
I
because it's
like
kind of
that. I
long
like
to
that
get that
nickname. It's a
way.
good
Yeah.
nickname.
So it's interesting that they're going with him rather than PJ Walker, but it's just one of those
Yeah,
things where they want
Walker's
to try
been
him out one more
great.
time. I think they have a lot of faith in Robinson, even though he had some tough games in the regular season recently. But we'll see. But I do think both defenses are spectacular, and that's why I picked 16-13 the under. I just think there's no way you pick the over here, even though it's fun to pick the overs.
Zero
Both
chance.
defenses are spectacular. TJ Watt passed JJ Watt for
Yep.
the second most sacks in his first 100 games. Kenny Pickett isn't like the big shining star, but
Nah, he's
Deontay Johnson,
average.
Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. I think there's some Pickens could get involved again. I think there's just a lot more opportunity on that side of the ball.
Couldn't agree more, sir. So what we're gonna do is, because I have DraftKings pulled up, we're gonna go in order that DraftKings has it to just make
Okay.
our lives a little easier. So you're gonna do Cowboys Panthers, good sir. Panthers
Cowboys,
are
Panthers, yeah.
10.5-point dogs at home, and the over under is 42.5.
Yeah, I'd go Cowboys here. I picked the Cowboys to win 30-7. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Cowboys have shown that they're
single digit points.
Yeah, single digit points. I think it's going to be tough for the Panthers, man. I think the Cowboys have shown that they can dominate teams that aren't so good. I don't think the Panthers would put up a lot of points against that solid defense. So I think the Cowboys offense is rolling a little bit too. I know the Cowboys have had some iffy games, but let's see what happens.
I'm inclined to agree, and
Yeah.
I see you take the over on the 30-7 score. I will take the over, or the under. I meant.
Yeah.
I will take the over
Okay.
just by the Cowboys themselves.
That's
almost.
fair.
I'm gonna go with a Cowboys blowout win, 42-17. The Pro Football Demon and I have this running gag on the Fantasy Q&A show where the Cowboys, when they can hang points on a team, they want to. I think it's a confidence thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a let's make the point differential look better for us at the end of the year thing. So when they can beat a team handedly, they do. And they don't really care if it means they have to keep throwing into the fourth quarter. I think Dak's going to have a monster game. 42-17 is my prediction. Dallas.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I just feel like I'd never pick games with single digit points. It actually happens quite a bit.
It does.
Especially this season. So
it's hard to pick
I got to
it,
throw it out there. It's hard to pick it, but
yeah.
Maybe I'm right this time. What are you going to give me if I'm right? We'll see.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? A gold star and a huge hug.
All right. Gonna go, yeah.
Yeah. We got Bears, Lions. Lions are 7.5-point home favorites. Over under is 48 points. Yeah, this is a no-brainer as well. I think Fields coming back does give the Bears a little bit of a spark. I'm looking forward to seeing him and DJ Moore reunite. Khalil Herbert's not playing. Roshan Johnson hasn't really been overly impressive. So, not too much going on there other than Fields running the ball or Fields airing it out. So look for a pretty decent statistical game from him. I think he'll have to air it out to try to keep up with the Lions, and I don't think they have a shot. I think it'll be a little tighter because it's a divisional game than you think, but I still have the Lions winning pretty handedly. I'll go 38-24.
Okay, I have 30-14, so I'm slightly scoring points, but
You're under again.
Everything you said, I'm under.
Yeah.
Oh no, what's happening?
You're living on the under.
Do I need to make an under parlay this week?
I think you do.
Okay, I'm gonna make an under parlay this week.
And share on Twitter, please.
Yeah. So gosh, if we're gonna turn into NFL bets right there,
why not?
Bets. Yeah, why not? We'll make a new account.
So 30-14. Jimmy's living in the under. Any other fun notes from this game?
I mean, I think the Lions are gonna be rolling again. I really like the David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs had a fantastic game last week. He was running around. So it was one of those situations where like the beginning of the season. Now we're like, let's hold out. Let's see what happens. We're middle of the season. We're past the middle of the season. We're in week 11.
Yeah.
And Gibbs is rolling. I did see one quote that was like David Montgomery went up to Gibbs and was like, "Hey, you want this tud?" And he gave it to him. David Montgomery is a real guy. The David Montgomery, like Jamal Williams type running backs, they're good, and their personalities are awesome too. So I just love talking about them. I think they should get a lot of praise for the kind of like ground and pound they get.
Oh yeah, you got to shine a positive light on those guys, man.
Absolutely.
They're absolute dogs. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, 13.5-point road dogs in Miami. Over under 46 points. Jimmy, take it away.
Yeah, the Raiders have had some surprisingly like miraculous wins recently, haven't they? But
they have.
And the Dolphins are kind of in the situation where they're like, will they beat good teams? Will they not? well, this is a not so good team they're playing, so I'm going to go ahead and pick the Dolphins here. I think it's going to be like 34-13. I think it's going to be a tough game for the Raiders. Unfortunately, Aiden O'Connell, I believe, is starting as well. I think Tua gets rolling. I think it's just one of those games. I could be entirely wrong, but I think the Dolphins need to prove themselves, especially with a lot of the other AFC powerhouses kind of going down a little bit with the Bengals and Bills. I think the Dolphins are kind of like, oh, maybe the Dolphins are actually like a little better than we think because they're performing as well as they have for the most part. There's obviously some games will.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think I'm in agreement with you there. What's the score did you give?
34-13.
34-13. Yeah, I think that I'm going to go with Miami winning this game. I think it might be a little tighter. The Dolphins are kind of like, we talk about them pummeling bad teams, but people forget they were down 14-0 to Carolina. And people forget they, kind of squeaked by New England a little bit. That game was a little tighter than people will remember than the score showed. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with a little, I think the belt loops will be a little tighter. We're looking at 13.5 points. I think Raiders cover. I'll go with Miami 34, Vegas 21. So barely cover.
Perfect. Yeah.
But
Close
it'll be
enough.
tight.
We're both at the 34 points.
Yeah, it'll be
So
tight.
that's something. Yeah.
It'll be tight. All right, we got New York Giants, 8.5-point dogs in Washington, over under 37.5. Yeah, this game feels pretty open and shut, and I wish it wasn't because the Giants, even when they were horrible, they had like at least a little bit of a watchability factor with either Danny Dimes or Tyrod Taylor. But now they're that horrible, and we're watching a JV QB play. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. Tommy DeVito is in the NFL, and yes, his mom does his laundry, and yes, she makes him chicken cutlets every night. I love that for you, Tommy DeVito.
That's goals right there.
Don't give that life
Absolutely.
up, man. Good for you, and good for you for playing in the NFL. Stun on all your haters, bro. You're a baller for real. Mad respect. But it's our job to talk about the games, and I have not seen a sliver of a competent NFL quarterback from Tommy DeVito, unfortunately. Yes, he's a rookie. Maybe he'll right the ship at some point, but he was a practice squad quarterback for a reason. Unfortunately, I think he makes Giants games all but unwatchable unless you bet on how many sacks are taken or the under on his passing yards. It's really the only thing that's exciting about these games, but Washington's going to win this game. I would say decisively. I'll say Washington wins this game 27-2. I'll say 10. I think Quads maybe falls in the end zone because he does that.
Yes, I feel bad for Saquon for sure. I don't know what's going to happen after this season with the Giants and where Saquon's going to go because I know he had a restructuring of his deal with the franchise tag and stuff. But I think it might be smart for both teams just to go separate ways there and Saquon find a new team. But, in terms of Damien DeVito, obviously that's not going to go over well for the Giants. I have 23-13 Commanders. I think Sam Howell is a somewhat decent quarterback right now. I think he's showing some poise in the pocket, so ability to go downfield. He's leading the league in passing yards, which is insane when you look at it.
That's wild.
Is it a testament to passing yards as a statistic, or is it a testament to Sam Howell? I think you could see it as both, and I think it's okay to see it as both. I think there's a lot of context in the NFL, but I think Sam Howell is showing that he deserves his chances that he's getting, and he's making the most out of it. And I think with the Commanders team, I think they still have a lot to improve on in terms of defense and some offensive playmakers. So Jahan Dotson is iffy at times. So
sucks. Yeah, it's a very big bummer for my dynasty team. If you want to negotiate a trade on the air, second round pick, maybe I might do it. I might do it for a second.
If I had a second, I would.
Actually, you know what's crazy? I just declined a second and a third offer from McFadden. I can't do that. I'll take it first.
Brian's watching right now.
I know.
What does he know?
He's got the Arthur fist. Yeah,
publicly
downvaluing
him right now.
Oh, dude. McFadden loves talking smack in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, we got to do a whole show on that, man. I just
we really should.
Being a spectator and just watching because my team's in the middle and I don't know what's happening.
Dude, we play each other this week. I gotta.
Okay, cool.
You stand between me and playoffs, man. I gotta.
You stand between me and playoffs, bro.
Well, you're a game ahead of me, so chill out.
Yeah, but it could be a game. Let's keep.
That's true. Hey, we got a really fun game here to talk about. Mike Vrabel's Tennessee Titans go on the road to Jacksonville. 7-point dogs. Over under 39.5. Jimmy, talk to me.
You think this is a fun game?
No, I was wrong.
Okay, perfect.
I capped. I did what the youth call cap.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll be pretty consistent with what I've said in previous shows with the Titans. I don't think the Titans are going to be exciting. Again, I think Will Levis had 4 touchdowns, 0 picks in his first game. He's had 2 interceptions, no passing touchdowns in his last 2 games, which is tough because I think Will Levis does have something, but obviously he's had a tough past couple of games. But I think the Titans should still be excited to have a young quarterback at the position and kind of seeing where that goes, rather than sticking with some dinosaurs and just going barely making the playoffs, maybe. So respectfully,
Oh yeah,
yeah, absolutely. But
totally.
the Jags have been on a roller coaster as well, with Trevor Lawrence and everybody. They got routed last week by the 49ers, but they won 4 straight before that. So I think the Jags still have something in them. I think they're still the
Definitely.
leader. They're up there with AFC South, but the Texans are starting to come back. So Jags are going to win. Do I have a score? 27-17.
Yeah, that's
So
around
it's
where I was.
closer. It's closer than what I
Yeah,
just like. I feel like I
no,
just pounded on the Titans and gave
no.
Jags some credit, but 27-17. It won't really, like, the Jags aren't doing great, but I think they'll get the win here.
That's around what I was thinking, and I actually think the Titans will do a little better than you're giving them credit for, just based on Levis, the spark that he's given them. But
Am
Jacksonville
I a
does.
hater? I think I'm a hater.
Oh, you might be a little bit of a hater.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with
absolutely.
24-20.
Okay.
Jacksonville. I don't think they have much of a shot
Little
to win.
AFC South matchup. That's like one of those games where when it gets to the witching hour, it's actually more interesting than people.
That's
It's
exactly
like,
what I was
yeah,
thinking. Like, it'll get down to the wire, and maybe the Jags pull away, maybe the Titans take the lead late, and Jacksonville has to go back. But I do think, just division game, I think there will be some back and forth there.
yeah. It's like,
Um,
yeah, nobody's gonna pay attention to it until it gets down to the wire.
literally, yeah,
Respectfully,
yeah.
again,
Except for their fans of those teams, with all due respect.
yeah.
Next up, my boys, the Houston Texans. They were my offseason darling team. I had a lot of love for them coming into the year. I kind of look like a genius right now.
You're a genius, man.
I kind of look like a genius. Their over under win total was like 7.5, and I smashed the over. So
Going to a nice steak dinner.
it's
Man,
possible in a couple weeks I'll be cashing that one
knock
out.
on
But
wood.
I got yeah, they're taking on the Cardinals. They're 6-point home favorites. The over under is 48. Mamma
Yeah.
mia, that's a number I like.
Some
So
Luigi coming out. All right.
it's a me. So I'm gonna go with the Texans in this game. There's a part of me as a Bills fan who needs the Texans to lose. That's like sneaky hopeful that the Cardinals can put some stuff together and be a little spunky with Kyler Murray. But I don't really think they have the horses to slow down CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud is going to have another big game en route to a simultaneous campaign for Rookie of the Year and MVP. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's possible. I'm going to go with Texans winning this game. I'll say 31. I'll say 34 to, I'll say 24.
Okay. I thought you were going to go lower for the Cardinals, but I think we're in a similar spot.
Their offense is good.
Yeah, and Kyler Murray and James Conner will both be there. So I think that'll be exciting. I think the Cardinals will kind of see what they have. I think now is the time. Whether or not they're in the top spot in the playoffs or in the draft next year, that doesn't matter. I think that doesn't matter for the players. I mean, the players, the coaches, a lot of them might not even be there next year. Jonathan Gannon obviously is a first-year coach, so he's probably fine. But there's a lot of players and coaches playing for the jobs. So that don't, like, tanking is never going to happen. But I do think that the Texans have been phenomenal. I think CJ Stroud has been phenomenal. He's made some mistakes here and there, but he's very fun to watch. I don't have no hate towards him as our fellow rookie quarterback. I'm a fan of Anthony Richardson.
Right.
But I would have loved CJ Stroud on the Colts as well. So I'm happy to see him doing good.
Yeah.
And proving the Ohio State quarterback thing wrong for now. So yeah, I have 27-20 Texans. So a little lower score, but
yeah, that is pretty low. Special shout out to our special boy over from down
my
under.
God,
We love you. We miss you.
from the Outback.
Takedo shows mad love to both of you on the fantasy Q&A show. He's like, yo, I love Jimmy. I love Age. Like, they're real ones. Like, he comments that every week. So you got to show some love to Takedo. Also,
bro,
Armand,
you're a
too.
real one.
We got a lot of great listeners, man. Honestly,
that's what we do this for.
There it goes. You're not even wrong. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
2 hearts from Age. We appreciate you, baby. Back at you. We played your soundbite on a loop earlier. I don't know if you're still here, or if you were there at that point, but we played your soundbite on a loop just because we were desperate to hear your voice.
I hope he's moving to Indiana, man.
Yeah,
Hanging with him.
dude, that'd be sick. Or
Maybe it's a
LA.
surprise. Yeah. Oh,
All right.
no, I'll stay maybe in the middle.
Hey, why don't you come to LA, Jimmy? Come on, you got.
I just did, man. You got to come to Indiana now.
I will. I will come to Indiana.
I don't
Just
believe
watch
that
me.
for a second.
Just
I don't
watch
believe
me.
that for a second.
I know. Don't believe it. We have the LA Chargers taking on the Green Bay Packers. Packers are 3-point home dogs in an over/under of 44 points. Jimmy, talk to me about this game.
I'm feeling the Packers. I feel like they're only +3. No, I'm not. No, I'm not feeling the Packers. I'm not feeling the Packers.
Okay.
I'm just saying I'm surprised.
Hey, Adrian's here for this.
Actually, yeah. The Packers are gonna win.
You can't dog walk his team in front of him.
Age, what time are you leaving, man?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, just kidding. The Packers have been really good this year. They really showed people that they're Super Bowl contenders, and Jordan Love is the future. Is he gone yet or no?
He's gone. You're good.
Okay, good. I think the Chargers' powerhouse offense will handle this game. I think the Packers will, unfortunately, not be too good. I think they have a lot to improve on. We've talked about that in multiple weeks. I don't think if it's anything, no one dogs the Packers like me. Yeah, I know. I don't even know what to say right now because I feel like you usually take the reins and start talking trash, and I just feel bad when I talk trash about the Packers. But the Packers have had some great moments. But Chargers 30, Packers 13. Why not? Did you see the Keenan Allen movie?
2 hours.
That's all. Yeah, that's cinema right there. That was cinema. I watched a few minutes of it.
As a slot guy, I love slot receivers. It's my weakness. That was like football porn to me.
Okay.
Watching Keenan Allen. Yeah.
Someone blur that out or mute it or whatever. I don't think we're allowed to say that on air.
Is that right?
I don't know. I have no idea.
If you're saying it about something else, it's still PG, right? It's just a word.
I don't know. We don't have a producer here to correct.
You know
us,
when you're right. you know when people are talking about oh, it's not the sexy pick. They're not saying it's sexy. They're saying has that allure.
Oh, they're not. I was thinking. Never mind. We can.
All right.
On,
yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll keep it moving. So I do tend to agree with you here. That the Packers will get boat raced. I think it'll be pretty ugly, honestly. Sorry, Age. I think they can keep it close because they've done that. And the Chargers offense is definitely worse than the Steelers. The Chargers defense is definitely worse than the Steelers. So they might be able to move the ball a little bit more. But I think the Chargers offense is so much better than Pittsburgh's that I don't think Green Bay will be able to slow them down as much. I'll say Chargers win this game 27-20.
Okay. Yeah.
Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to San Francisco, where the Niners are 12-point home favorites. I think this is a great spot for San Francisco to continue their recent tear. I think Tampa Bay in the right matchup and against middling to above average teams, they are plucky. They are an interesting, dangerous matchup. But I don't think San Francisco qualifies there. I think San Francisco is just a little bit too much of a juggernaut. I think they've shown that they're going to be consistent again. Shanahan had his bye. He got all the yips out of the system. I think I'll take San Francisco to cruise in this one. I'll say 34-16.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like the Bucs have not been talked about at all this year. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like they've been a little lot pluckier. Yeah, they're a lot pluckier than the bad teams, but the good teams, they're kind of in the middle there.
Right.
Which I don't know. Yeah, it's just they have a solid defense. They have a somewhat solid offense, but
Baker's having a career year, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Baker's having the best year of his career.
We need a moment of silence for Christian McCaffrey's touchdown streak. All right, we're good.
Thank
we're
you.
good.
That was
we didn't
beautiful.
have any music. Yeah, no producers.
Right,
it was just.
was
hopefully,
good.
you're watching the video right now, so you were just.
So you saw us bow our heads somberly
in prayer. I don't know what happened there.
Prayer, we were praying for it to start.
But seriously,
up again.
I had the tweet scheduled. Not really, but I was ready for it.
Damn.
But I think this could be a revenge game for him. Let him get a couple touchdowns this week. It was crazy that they tried to go to him 4 times in the red zone just to get him that touchdown. So
that was beautiful.
That as
made me so happy. Yeah.
But yeah, the 49ers is as solid as they get. They obviously have, well, I shouldn't say that because they did have some.
They had a little stretch.
They had some little stretch here and there, but they're starting to get a little healthier again.
Yep.
I think they'll be all right. I think they'll win. What did I have? I had 31-20, so it's not crazy. I think feels like a plucky game, but
yeah, you have Tampa covering at that.
Oh, geez.
Just
Oh my gosh.
saying.
I don't
Just
even.
saying.
Maybe I should do this more often and just pick the games before I look at the lines and stuff because I
It's
don't even like
fun.
to think about the
No,
lines and
yeah, then
overs
it
and
keeps
stuff.
you
And then
from it keeps you from overthinking it, I think.
yeah, because if you look at the line and then you start getting a little biased and you start thinking of like that's based your opinion is based off of that rather than just your actual
Right. All right,
opinion.
good
But
sir. This is going to be you. We have the Seattle Seahawks traveling to my backyard, LA Rams. Rams are 1-point home dogs in an over/under of 46 points. Jimmy, talk to me.
this is just isn't really like an amazing game for me. I think Matthew Stafford will be back this week if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty exciting. But I still feel like the Seahawks have a solid running game, solid defense. And Geno Smith, he hasn't been looking great, but I don't think he's awful yet. I think it's gonna be very close though. So 23-20 Seahawks.
Mm, I can dig
But
that.
I'm not too excited for this game.
You know, I think I'm going to call my upset special of the week here, brother.
Here we go.
I think Stafford is going to get something going against the Seahawks. I think the receivers are going to start to wake up a little bit. It's been tough watching quarterbacks that aren't Stafford play for them. And the Rams are kind of another one of those middling teams. Like, how far out of the playoff picture are they right now? NFL stats, are they got to be a healthy way out, right? What's their record?
Yeah, their record's 3-6. So I mean, they're
So
definitely not winning the NFC West. But
I think they can take down Seattle, though. I think Seattle's overrated.
yeah,
I'm devastated about what Geno's turned into, because he was one of the most exciting stories in football, but he hasn't really been anything to write home about this year. Maybe he won't write back. We'll see. I think I'm going to give the Rams here an upset win, 23-20. Oh, did you say 23-20
I did say 23-20 the
Oh,
other
that's
way.
funny. I'm flipped.
And I will say the Seahawks have a negative point differential right now, and they're 6-3. So that's not a bad. That's not a bad guess at all. It's just like two awful teams, but I do feel like Matthew Stafford coming back is going to be huge. So I think it'll be close.
It's gut check time for sure. All right. The New York Jets are 7-point road dogs in Buffalo. Over under 39.5. Imagine a Josh Allen team having an over under of 39.5. It's just that's a sign of what we've dealt with this season as Bills fans. I am going to make some tough decisions here on the show. I can't pick the Jets to beat the Bills. It's in my contract. I legally can't as a member of the Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
They'll revoke.
It's almost up though, so next season we'll be able to pick them, but not
that's
this
true.
year.
That's true. Yeah. It depends on if I get renewed or not. I think I'll renew. Forever.
I'll vote to renew you forever.
I think the Bills are obviously probably the most underperforming team in the NFL, or one of them. If you look at the difference in the overtime loss to the Jets, the freaking stupid Denver 12 men on the field penalty, the London game, and the Bengals game that they lost, they are there's one other loss too. Which one am I not including? Oh, the Patriots game. Oh, even worse.
Oh God, what are you doing to yourself, man?
Every single one of those losses is so mind-numbing and head-scratching and ridiculous that they all went the other way, which sucks. In a world where they went the other way, we're kind of able to more, I think, accurately judge the Bills' performance this year. But the NFL is a wins and losses league, and they're 5-5. You are what your record says you are. So there's DVOA, there's metrics, there's EPA per play, there's this, that, the third, the other thing. Your mom's cousin, sister's, brother's, dad's, uncle's, nephew's, niece will tell you all about.
Not Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie. She'll tell you all about how, low key good the Bills are, even though the record's 5-5. They're 5-5. They just fired their OC midseason. Right the ship now. There's a lot of injuries in the division. If that doesn't motivate them a little bit, I don't know what will. There's a very, very real chance for them to sneak into a wild card spot and make noise, which is what they did. I mean, they've won the division each of the last 3 years, but the year when they had 13 seconds and everybody considered that their best run at a Super Bowl, they were 7-6 on the outside looking in with 4 games left to play. So let's not forget that,
Thanks for reminding me. I appreciate
Thank you.
That.
Yeah, I got you.
Not about the 13 seconds, about the 7-6 thing.
Yeah, it's real though. It's real. People forget that they were underperforming that year too. It's NFL's a week-to-week league, and it's a what have you done for me lately league, and all the criticism on the Bills, all the criticism on Josh Allen, I'll say most of it is fair. So I'm not gonna lose my stuff on the air about it. I will give Buffalo a 21-13 win in New York. Actually say 24-13 win in New York, even though I am not extremely confident about it. I just legally have to pick them.
Yeah, legally, yeah, and
Legally.
I don't have any legality there because I did pick the Jets in Week 1 and somehow they won, but it wasn't the way I intended for it to happen. I don't know what happened that, and now both teams are losing about half their players. At least the Bills have lost half the players, and the Jets lost pretty much the most important position. So that was tough. But I was looking at this game. I think I'm kind of excited for this game. It's going to
Me
be a
too.
defensive kind of game, but the Bills coming back, it's going to be tough against one of the best defenses in the league. I was like, hopefully they have a bounce back game, and I saw they have the Jets. I'm like, oh, that's not much of a bounce back game, but they are at home, so that's a plus sign. They might have some different looks on offense this week with Joe Brady, correct?
Correct.
Joe Brady's the new OC, so we could see him put him his own finesse in. He's great at LSU. Didn't have a great time with the Panthers, but who has recently? We don't know.
Right.
But I'm picking the Bills. Remember, no legality there.
Yep.
2017. I might have deleted. If you check my edits on the Excel sheet that I have, it went back and forth between the Bills and Jets a few times.
Yeah.
That makes for an exciting game. So I'm excited to see what happens.
I like it. All right, we have another really exciting game, and you get to kick this one off. I'm actually quite jealous about this. But we are looking at the plucky Minnesota Vikings 2-point road dogs in Denver on Sunday Night Football over under 42.5. Jimmy, break it down.
I'm not excited about what I chose here, but I'll start with Joshua Dobbs. I think he's been phenomenal. I mean, I think when you asked me earlier, like what was most exciting, what was most surprising for last week, and I said the Bills, but I think that Joshua Dobbs story and the Vikings still being in the playoff picture is a tremendous thing.
Yeah.
Will it last? I'm not too sure. And apparently, based off of my decision to make the Broncos the winner in this game, I think the Broncos have also been pretty solid too. I mean, Russell Wilson has already improved his pass touchdowns by a couple tuds since or compared to last season.
Yeah.
I think he has like 18 touchdowns. So that's very exciting for the Broncos. And I think they're starting to kind of find themselves a little bit, especially Russell Wilson. I think the Vikings will kind of slow down a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't know how Joshua Dobbs. I think the Broncos defense is it's not as bad as people say. I think they're starting to show out a little bit more this year as well. So I'll pick the Broncos 30-24. So it'll be a close game, but it'll be high powered for sure.
That's a lot of scoring for Denver.
Yeah, I know.
30 points. I don't hate the call. I do think Denver's also going to win the game. I think they're going to do it with defense.
Okay.
Their defense has shut down Mahomes and Josh Allen in consecutive weeks, respectively. I'm very impressed with how Sean Payton has turned things around there. I'm very impressed with Russell Wilson and how he hasn't thrown in the towel. A lot of love for Denver. I think Denver's going to win this game. I will say 23-21. Very similar to the score of last week's game.
Okay.
But I think Dobbs is he's the plucky king. He's the plucky guy. He was the guy who made the Cardinals plucky. He's now the guy that makes the Vikings plucky.
Yeah, I might need to get him in a dynasty league because I just lost Joe Burrow in one of my teams. I'm trying to win
tragic.
Him, so
yeah, go make a trade.
He wouldn't give me Joshua Dobbs for a second, so that was tough. But
go make a trade, sir. Last but not least, I'll be kicking this game off. We have a Super Bowl rematch for the ages. We have the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 2.5-point dogs in Kansas City, over under 45.5. Jimmy Ray, this game for me is going to come down to a couple things. Number one, can the Chiefs pass catchers do a damn thing?
That's a good question. That's what I had it in my bullet points as well.
Yeah, because they haven't been doing a lot this year, but the Eagles' pass defense is not the best. I think Philly will have a shot to run the ball in this game, even though Kansas City has a great defense on both sides of the ball. I just think that Philly's offense is just that good. Their offensive line is just that good that I think that they will make a little bit of an impact. They will make a little bit of noise. I think Philly's going to win this one. I've been going back and forth on this one as well, but I in my current headspace that I'm in right now, I think Philly's got the upset in them. I'll go with Philly 30, Kansas City 27.
Okay, so I'm I'm close to you as well. I think I'm giving the slight edge to the Chiefs. I think it'll be a 27-24 game. I think it'll be kind of a big defensive game, but I think I'm still giving the edge to Patrick Mahomes. I think the pass catchers will find a way to get it done this time around. I think the Eagles' defense on the secondary is tough, like you said. And I mean, Taylor Swift is meeting. I think their parents are meeting or something.
Yeah.
So that could cause some weird. I'm not excited for the game, but what you're not excited for that, man?
The
The Swifties are watching
storylines.
right now. Be careful.
I'm not gonna lie. I did love the little Karma is a boy on the Chiefs or something like that. That was cool.
That was adorable. Yeah,
Like that
absolutely.
little, and then I saw Travis get all excited about it, and then they kissed after the show. Aw, I'm like in the, you know what I mean? I'm trying to, keep it professional.
Yeah, it sounds
football.
like it.
But it's cute.
Yeah, I'm honestly, it's just because I picked up Travis Kelce in the Dynasty League this week.
Nice.
So I'm excited for
huge.
that. I traded
Congrats.
a first for him and Thielen, so we'll see how that goes.
Prayers
But
up. You got two
thank you
old
very
guys.
much.
You got
Yeah,
two old
yeah,
guys.
that's all I need is
But
a
that
couple
dude
old
is
guys.
selling though. Whoever traded you that is crazy. So you gave an official score prediction?
Yeah, it's 27-24 Chiefs.
So we're in very similar boats. 3-point games in the higher
Yeah,
20s.
I'm hoping for an awesome game, man. This is
dude.
I mean, how do you all honestly, when I first read it, I was like, how do you possibly decide the winner of this game? You can't. It just all depends, like you said, on the pass catchers.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think the Chiefs' defense has been surprisingly. I think people are sleeping on the defense, regardless if people have talked about it. I think they've been phenomenal. But Patrick Mahomes always gets that kind of credit. So
yeah. All right. Well, Jimmy, we freaking did it, man. We broke down every single game. We broke down the biggest storylines in the NFL, and this has been another episode of the Legit Football NFL podcast.
Yeah, we stormed through this thing, man. I feel like we hit a stride and we didn't stop.
I really liked it. I really liked the pace. I find that you, me, and Age, we're podcasters. We're great talkers. And there was we were down a man, so our showtime was cut a little bit short, but we'll take that extra 30 minutes if it means we get to hang out with Adrian. We don't mind his rambling. No, I'm just kidding.
Love you, Age. I know you're not here.
You. Yeah, you left. We know.
Come to Wisconsin. Or we're all going to Wisconsin. Is what he said.
Yeah,
3-way move.
Yeah, we're doing a little Wisconsin. Wisconsin
like
trip. Armand showing some love in the chat. We love you. Takedo showing some love in the chat. We love you. My pops. I want to give a shout out and also a demerit to my pops, PK Martini, because he's a weekly watcher of the show. He didn't comment and he called me in the middle of the episode. So, Dad, what the hell, man? Anyways, Jimmy, anything you want to say to the good people before we sign out?
Colts probably will make the playoffs, and I'll be confused about it.
Oh, it's gonna happen. I got one more thing for you.
Yeah.
I got bad news for you, mate. 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 I got bad.
Huh?
Is that looped on purpose, or do you just keep hitting the button?
No, it's looped. I don't know why it does that, but that's because
it's like one or two too long, and I'm not ready. I keep thinking it's gonna end, and then it's just like, I got bad news for you, mate.
I just could not be happier with the show today, Jimmy. I had a great time with you. This has been the Legit Football NFL podcast. Go Bills. Sorry, Armand. Takedo, go Raiders. I hope you guys take down the Dolphins. But we are out.
Happy Thanksgiving.